Via second. Lim Sui Wan, Michael, Mega Seller, Molasi, Saima, Tan Su Chu, Yoga, Abdullah Hadi, Madhu, Rosemary, Yugoswaran, Audrey is here, Sugumaran, Yongzhen Wei, Ang Chi Xiang, Pinay. Are they on the camera? Mr. Ang, Kang Hin Sun, Ong Ki Sing, not here. Dong Sok, Lalita, Monica, Nadir, Anil, Tan Wei Jun, Lao Yu Kui. Okay, fine. Good morning. Welcome back. Right. Today we are going to move more in depth into some of the theories, or rather the vocabularies, which we are encouraging all students in the international business class to try to apply when they are describing certain model or concepts in your assignment. And also, one way to actually present a very good assignment is not only by just writing essay or essays, but also to try to include or incorporate some of the data or information which you can actually source from the internet. As you know that learning is borderless now, unlike before. So at any time, it is within your fingertips. Just key in, you can get information very quickly. I think those who have attended the research class previously, I may miss out one point that you can actually apply some of the research approach or approaches or strategies here while you're preparing your assignment. With the concept of using either inductive or deductive approach. Inductive or deductive approach. What are the differences, or what is the main difference between the two, inductive and deductive? One of these is based on certain belief, and you try to verify whether is it true or not. Very often we look at data or formula or principles or observation. Now, based on the observation, you try to draw a conclusion. The other one is you have seen certain pattern, but you are not too sure whether it can be formulated or not. Yeah, it can be formulated or not. Such as there's some observation going on. Previously, we talked about in order for you to conduct a market survey to decide whether to start a petrol station. So you are a consultant. Or you're running a consulting company. So your client would like you to help to survey whether is it true if there are a lot of cars or vehicles passing by, there's a high chance for them to look for petrol station. The demand for petrol will be higher or not. So I mean, with that belief in mind, you try to actually find out, is it true or not? This is one scenario. Another scenario is you look at the shopping mall with a lot of crowds. We believe that when there are more crowds, there's a high chance for food stuff, F&B, to be highly sellable. And you're going to have more sales whenever there's a crowded area, whereby there are a lot of shoppers around. After shopping, they may need drink or food. So that is a common belief, but it may or may not be true. So you are supposed to verify. So you can actually apply one of these principle or approach or strategy. So which is the right one? Induction or deduction? As I said, the answers are two ways. You visualize certain principle and try to testify it, whether is it true or not. And such as you have learned in your theory on ODC or OB, those of you have gone through. You learn about Maslow hierarchy of needs. You learn about Hofstede. But I don't encourage you to accept it 100%, because in the case of Hofstede actually covers most of the Western and the American countries. Whether the 5 dimensions are truly applicable to the Asian market or not. So you're supposed to testify it. So with that, is it going to be inductive or deductive? So it's only one. Which is the right one? As I mentioned earlier on, the idea was, if you visualize certain pattern, whether the pattern can also be applied to your targeted segment. Yeah? Whether it's going to be applicable to that segment, or you believe there's a correlation between, as I said, independent-dependent variable. In research, most of the time we talk about independent-dependent variable. But is that a very firm correlation that we are looking at? Now we believe like you work very hard, then you're going to be very successful. Sometimes it may be true, sometimes it may not be true. Most of the time it could be true. Those who work harder, there's a higher return, you see? Yeah? In general. So how to differentiate inductive, and those of you who have arrived late, inductive and deductive. Deductive is the one that you have actually a very strong belief, or you are having a high tendency to accept the formula, but you just want to verify, is it true? Such as I said, Hobson. Hobson is well accepted worldwide, but I'm going to test whether Hobson is also applicable to the current generation. So you are going to generalize from the norm. From the norm, you are going to generalize it specifically in your country. That is what we call induction. You accept something which is more or less right, but just verify it. It must be true in your market territory. That's what we call deduction. Induction is something that you suspect, but no one has actually done it. So you use data to verify. Use data to verify. From there, then you induce or inductive to test whether is it true or not. I mean, in a medical pharmaceutical industry, have you ever heard about a lot of research by the medical doctor or specialists? They are mostly on using rat or mice to test whether that antibiotic is workable or not to cure certain disease. So they use animal to test. So if it's okay, then they test it on human being, then fine. The virus can be stopped by using certain antibiotic. That is what we call inductive. Inductive. Something which is more or less right, but it has no solid track record. But there could be a plan suspected. So you test it through. That's inductive. Test it through, which is inductive. Okay? Something which has been already well accepted, but because of enlarging of the market territory, like a lot of products have been sold, like coffee, for example. In European or American countries, a lot of them, they look highly upon drinking coffee. Very prestigious. In the eyes of Asians, you know, during the Japanese occupation, we have a lot of British armies are here. So during their leisure time, they drink coffee. So in the Asians' mindset, we always look down. We are one step lower. Only the rich and more successful people will have a chance to taste coffee. We always have that type of barrier. That's due to power distance. And now, even with the society advanced, developed, we still have the fear of, are we fit enough to be in that type of luxurious environment to taste coffee? That's why the Western coffee companies such as Starbucks, Coffee Bean and all that, they have to test the market whether is coffee tasting is going to be in demand in Asia. Can they afford to pay? As I told you, we used to buy coffee at 30, 40, 50 cents before. Now it's almost 10 ringgit, 20 times. Can the people afford to buy? So after testing out on the city, they begin to realize that it can be generalized. So this is what we call deductive. Okay, so what we are trying to say is very often I notice a lot of assignments. Most of you may tend to write by including what you have read from the case, what you have read from the book. But there are not many students who have actually shown your work by doing the online research. So today, especially this morning, we are going to actually spend some time to go through a website to look at European Union countries, Asian countries, ASEAN countries, and also North American countries. Mainly because the two cases that we are going to look at today, they are all drawing from the European Union. European Union. Do you know how many European Union countries are there today? It's good to know. When you walk out from this room, you can proud to say that I'm an MBA student. I know all this at my fingertips. There are two questions that I'm going to ask. Okay? How many European or EU countries at this moment? And has UK been included? Because a few years ago, there was a speculation saying that because of currency, pound sterling is stronger than euro. So they were hesitating to become a member. So my question is UK already included? Well, I'm not going to argue. We are going to go into the website and test it out. That's why I would like to see, if possible, all of you have your laptop in front. You just go into Google and try to check a list of European Union, EU countries. How many are there? Including students from Johor, Johor Bahru. Do you have a laptop? Please go into Google and check the list of European countries. I can give you the answer of 28, but whether UK is included or not.
No.
I've attended one question, but the second question is leaving to you. You just check the website. And also, third question to wake you up this morning call. Which country has been excluded from Europe? So most of you would likely to say UK. I'm not going to argue, just go on the website and check. So that's why it's good for you to practice now, so that you can remember how many EU countries is UK included as a member country. And there's one country which is quite popular, but it's not included. What's the name of the country? Ukraine. Don't guys go into. That's why you need to go through a process of what I call inductive. Inductive means you check yourself and see the fact is true, because it's an open information that no one can deny whether it's right or wrong. It's already captured there on the website. You have it. List of European Union countries. And tell me the answer after that. Then you can remember for life. Are the students in Johor able to hear clearly? Can you all hear clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a laptop with you now?
I'm unable to see.
You can't see the whiteboard. Hold on. Let me check. Let's see.
First is this one. This is UK. Yes. Then the one, which countries is 27 from? 27. 27 countries. Austria, Brazil, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus.
Bukan whiteboard, sebenarnya daripada ini screen bukan whiteboard. Tapi mereka tak nampak. Hello, can you hear me? I have put everything on the screen, no whiteboard. I try not to write on whiteboard so that you'll be less confusing. Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you see those on the screen, the monitor screen? Yeah. You have the word of oligopoly, right? I try not to use whiteboard, so it's easier for you to read all the statements. So now you are required to go online and check a list of 28 EU countries and find out whether UK is in the list or not. Just now there were one or two answers mentioned about UK has still been excluded. But just to test whether is it true or not.
Not true.
Huh?
Not true.
Is UK in?
Yes.
UK is already in. But I believe they have a certain agreement, not in terms of currency. There's also a term smartly requested by UK not to have the common currency. But then which is the country not included? Since UK has been included, except currency, but there's one European country which is not in the list. I think most of you wearing watch, right? You should know the country.
Switzerland.
Yeah, check whether is it there. So the three answers, three questions. Have you got the answers? Yeah. So 28 European countries, including UK, accept the currency, not being standardized, and Switzerland is not in. Switzerland is not in. So when you write your answer, if you mention about Switzerland, the case and all that, try not to make mistake. And we have seen cases students mention, oh, being one of the member country in EU, Switzerland is not, but UK yes. So make sure that you put in the true fact there. And also, out of the 28 countries, it is also important for international business consultant or manager to know the population size. What is the population size of EU? So I would like you to jot down, because we'll be screening through all the three different economic block. We call it BLOC. So one reason of why a lot of countries in that region, in the common region, they form their economic bloc, BLOC, economic bloc, mainly for free exchanges of three items actually. More of the exchanges in terms of the what we call barrier, by removing the barrier, the trade barriers, so that they can have a free, what we call what are the three areas? Social, cultural, they could have an exchange, and also there's some economic in terms of the free flow of goods, sales and purchase of goods, trading. Yeah. What else?
Legal.
Yeah, the legal aspect, they try to have something in common in terms of the law to enable business activities. Yeah? So those are the three main objectives of forming economic bloc. So these are the three very important global economic blocks that we can't deny. And most of the time, the cases are taken from all these blocks. That's why it's important for you to know. Now, I repeat, to summarize, EU has 28 countries, including UK, but not Switzerland. And what is the population size? 507 million. You can also check on the website, 507 million. It's important to know, because when you are looking into the market to penetrate, normally population size is also important. Then you can use the CIA-GOV website to actually check out on the demographic trend of EU. You see, are they on the age population trend or young population trend, so that you can actually strategize what product to be marketed. So by doing such a so-called external screening process, you cut down the risk of making mistakes. Yeah, rather than the population is going to be aged and you're trying to market products which are suitable for the younger age group, it's not going to work. Yeah. Social, culturally, it's not going to work. And also, if we are going to look at very expensive car, we have to also look into the GDP of those countries. Are the people earn enough or not, so that they can buy luxurious product? Yeah. Okay. So before we go further, so you have the answer to this the European Union countries. There are two economic statements or concept that is good for you to learn. How much have you learned about oligopoly? When we look at the economic structure of a country, we look at oligopoly, for instance. Is there any way that we can define oligopoly in a very simple manner? Oligopoly. Or any good example that you can think of in those countries which are very familiar. Monopoly, of course you know. Oligopoly. What is the difference between oligopoly and monopoly?
Oligopoly is not a single company. Few people don't together.
More than one, but not as many as those in a situation with very steep Normally, it could be with certain political influence, I do not know. And it could be due to the cultural, what you call, due to the cultural reason. They have been there. It's like for example, I can't use a casino, which is not good because it's only one in Malaysia. In Singapore, Singapore, you can use casino in Singapore, more than one, but not too many. Not too many. Okay. How about car industry? Normally we look at the commodity products, and also some of the control items where country government will always set a rule or restriction towards that, such as in terms of the issuance of licenses. Not many. What else? Have you ever taken taxi? Taxi. You know all those permit for taxi? Not many companies are having it. You can check with the taxi man. They're always complaining, from airport to your home. They always complain that, oh, I have to go for how many trips in order to cover my costs, pay for the petrol maintenance of the car, and I also have to pay for the permit. And it's monopolized by one or two companies. So that could be a situation of oligopoly. There are people who can actually, I don't really use the word of abuse, but to a certain extent it's close to that. They abuse the power, political power, to control the issuance of those car permit to limited sources of supply. And those who have the license, they just have to sit there, right? Below them, there are 30, 40 taxis paying them money every day. They just sit there, whereas a poor driver, have to start early in the morning until night, sending passengers. And the major part of the income they have to pay to that person having the permit. So that is one scenario of oligopoly.
But can you also say the production of electricity?
Yes. As I said, all those due to the country's natural resources is controlled. But as I said, it's sad to hear that some of those industry, even though it's oligopoly or monopoly, sometimes they are not profitable, but due to certain human behavior. I'll leave it to you not to find out. But ideally, by right, you have a monopolized market opportunity, you should perform better because there's no competition. One very good case is on our Malaysian airline. At one time, they have actually monopolized. Without the emergence of the budget airline, our Malaysian airline is supposed to be profitable, but yet, due to out of control. And we have also heard about, we have gone through many rounds of turnaround. Are you waiting for here? Yeah, please. We are in the chapter or subject of international business. And yesterday we have covered the major part of the theory. Today is the second half, and later on we are going to move into the case assessment. Okay, just now we talk about, you raised the example of electricity, the supply of electricity. Then I actually added on the airline. You can actually compare. Airline normally by most countries is more or less controlled by the government or defined by the government. And some countries, like for example in Singapore, Singapore Airline. So it depends on how you actually manage the fund and also the team. Again, I was halfway through talking about the Malaysian airline. I mean, from outsider, we can see that at one point it could be overstaffed. You know why? Why are we saying so? Overstaffed. As I said, most of the company, the staff spending is about at least 20%. Most of the company, based on statistics. So even recently, we heard about 6,000, right? Was it 6,000 staff from Malaysian Airline have been retrenched. Over the years, they have been reducing the staff size for so long. And of course, not deny the fact, in the earlier year, the way of running the what do you call the airline business in terms of marketing was the setup of ticketing office. I mean, to say you need to have a physical setup of the office for the customer to walk in to buy, and that's the overhead. Every office you need to have a staff, right? Every office you need to have a staff, and then rental, and the other overhead like electricity and so on, stationery. But then with the online concept, the so-called online ticketing, so it has actually helped a lot of companies, not only airlines, to really cut down the cost, because we try to change the concept to customers self-service. And by doing so, the customer pay less. Don't you think so? You pay much more lesser than before, but you have to do it yourself. Even in terms of the boarding pass, you have to download yourself. But customers are more than willing to do so, except the petrol. The petrol station, are we paying less for the petrol by having self-service to pump petrol yourself? It was also because of the very narrow margin earned by those petrol stations, yeah, and also very difficult to get staff who can help to provide the service. Even many restaurants, we have seen changes in the trend, self-service. The Western fast food, KFC, McDonald's, all that, you have to be at the counter to pay. And then some of the local F&B companies or restaurants, they've also changed to self-service. So, of course, yesterday we brought in examples such as in Japan, it's very expensive to get paid employees. So much so that they have to use robots. Yeah, automation. Good example was brought up yesterday by looking into the sushi shop. Yeah? You just pick the food that you want rather than being served. Okay, so I think most of you are already aware on the setup of European Union, the number of countries, and also the population size. And the only excluded country, which I don't think I need to repeat the answer. Oligopoly was also discussed early on. Yeah, to look at slightly more than monopolized or monopoly type of business. And there's another statement here, which can be very useful when you describe those companies who have gone international. Very often we use the statement of monopolistic advantage theory. How to actually apply it correctly in the context of presenting your answer. Monopolistic advantage theory. It is actually related to oligopoly, but except we are looking at MNC who can gain entry to a host country market, and of course with the support of it could be invitation. It could be an invitation by the local government. I think some of you could have heard about MSC companies, Multimedia Super Corridor. It was the initiative of our ex-Prime Minister to emulate the idea of Silicon Valley in America, to develop knowledge workers, which can contribute to the growth of the IT industry, yeah, at one time. So they have actually invited a lot of companies who can actually set up their so-called branches in terms to provide the transfer of know-how by providing certain incentive, yeah, such as tax-free over the first 5 years, even educational institution like here. Okay, our own developed courses in IT or design. So the income over 5 years can obtain tax exemption for 5 years. So these are some of the initiatives played by the government to encourage companies either from local or international to help in growing certain new industry, which will not only provide the solution to curb unemployment, but also transfer certain modern technology. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, so with a tax exemption, is it always good? Because we have a situation by in some countries, for example, if they are giving the companies are giving like 5 years tax exemption, after the 5 years they will change the name or sell the company to other people, then they also exempt them tax again, which the countries end losing. For example, for my country, when the telecommunication comes in, they're giving some tax exemption, like MTN. Let's say it was space phone. Within 10 years that they have to pay tax, they change to MTN. You understand? It means that they have sold it out to a company again, which is also going to experience the 10 years exemption. So is it always good to use a tax exemption to attract foreign companies? Because at the end of the day, you might be losing. They will just sell the company out and the other company coming out.
You've asked a very interesting question, which we cannot give you a direct answer unless you have a country specific to look at, partly because of the country policy. So normally decided by the ruling parties. And you know that most of the countries will have election every how many years in your country? Yeah, every 4 years. So there will be a changing hand of the government. So if the same government continue, there's a high chance for them to maintain the policy generally. But also it depends on any competition created among the local. Some country may have the short term, they may have a short-term approach. The first 5 years let you get the tax exemption so that you can invest as much as possible. As you know that it's not easy to liquidize the what you call the hardware, the fixed asset. It's not easy to do that. So there will be certain degree of localization, passing on, where that invested company from OC may decide not to continue after 5 years. So it can be due to many constraints, as we discussed yesterday. It could be due to the staffing, expatriation could be a problem to them. Very expensive for them to send. So the first step is to localize, hand on to the local. And second stage, they may look at, oh, I have better country to look at, then I would like to let go by disposing of, to sell it off to the local. For example, Sam Darby, all those are owned by British before. Now there's a handover to the local. They've gone through many decades of changes. We have seen that.
How effective is the transfer of knowledge to local people? Because most of the time, you see like those multinational companies, when they come in, right? After certain years, they will get like local people, but of course they will maintain their own people at the core level. And sometimes, my personal experience is like, in terms of the know-how transfer, I don't think they fully transfer the know-how or get the local to be involved. So there's probably a, how to say, a disengaged. Do you know what I mean? The knowledge level. So.
Are you in the banking sector?
No, I'm in the energy sector. My company is a multinational company, and my boss is a foreigner.
Which country are you referring to?
French.
So it's in the EU.
Yeah.
It's in the EU.
Because I feel that most of the time he's involved in the decision making, the process, or the meeting, and I'm the one who execute the work for him. But I would say I learned by myself most of the time rather than getting involved in the process. So I don't know how you're trying.
In terms of the so-called FDI, most of the FDI, the what you call the segregation of tasks are divided into 3 different segments. The highest is more strategic, and then operational, and also the execution, plus the tactics of application of implementation. So 3 levels. The lowest levels by local. The operational normally is more sensible to also train up the local, but not on the strategic and the policy formulation. Normally it's by the HQ. Yesterday we talked about in the international human resource management. Most of the foreign countries, we always start with the ethnocentric. ITNO, E-T-H-N-O, ITNO. I repeated this many times. ITNO-centric. Centric means policy on handling people. ITNO means they control at the HQ level because of the secrecy, as what you mentioned. Secrecy of what you mentioned. So, of course, it's good to protect your trade secret and the know-how. Even we have gone through the stage of car industry with those proton and all that. The Japanese car manufacturer, they will still protect their IP. Certain part of the engine, they actually prefer to export it to Malaysia. They won't teach you how to make it. And that's why our Dr. M was quite mad at one stage. We don't really benefit from the transfer of technology. They have the way to protect it. But in terms of the people, let's focus on people. Most companies will normally start with the ethnocentric. And I actually quoted the example of Standard Chartered Bank, which is from UK, right? 20 years ago, we used to see a lot of golden hair in Chinese. Now, we have changed color to mostly Malaysian. Why? Because of the problem of getting staff, expatriate managers to go abroad. Only those seniors will have a chance to be selected. And most of them are at the age of 30 to 50 or 60 years. I would say majority are having family. In the negotiation for the package and compensation, they were included the family. You have to cover the benefit of my family. Not only that, when they have family, they also have children, right? They have to attend international school, which is very expensive. We have seen many cases like Malaysian accountants work in Shanghai, for example, well paid. But when they are deported, when they are repatriation is a process. Yes?
Dr. Chua, can you close the door because the door are hiding? We can't see anything.
Oh, I see. Sorry. We have students from
I can't close this one.
or this door.
Yeah,
I see. Okay, sorry. Thank you for voicing out. Okay, is it better now? I think we wooden door. Okay. So where did we stop just now? So as I said earlier on, not only the expatriate manager, the spouse, and also the children education. So that when they are transferred back, the children cannot go back to the mainstream education. They have to go on international track, which is very expensive. That's why the bargaining from those expatriate managers could be very high. And as time goes by, you may have a shortage of candidates, to be posted abroad. And the continuity of such arrangement was always a problem. But there was a case mentioned in a textbook of intercultural management years ago, talking about a Korean female managers was actually posted to Vietnam, and she has been trained to be very authoritative. And you know that she is actually on the high rank status and handling those blue collar workers in Vietnam. And there was a dispute whereby the workers are on strike, and she has no choice but to escape very quickly from Vietnam. And that company cannot function for so many months because they couldn't find a successor to come over. They wanted to boycott her because of the way she actually firing the factory staff in a very different manner, like we're using very rough sentences. So the Vietnamese cannot take it because most of them are not so well educated. And also due to the language barrier, they cannot accept her as a lady to be my boss, and they're scolding us in front of the crowd. So they cannot accept that. And because of the riot and all that, she has no choice but to escape. So a few months, the factory cannot function because of the expatriate manager cannot be replaced.
Sometimes there's these extra people, expatriate, right? They don't understand or comprehend culture.
That's why we have a subject known as intercultural management. In that particular module, early on in the MBA, we have that subject. all the expatriate managers must go through certain orientation program of few months, not only from the headquarters but also on site, in a host country, in terms of the language, in terms of understanding the culture, the hygienic aspect, as well. Can you imagine that certain country they have a shared washroom? I just learned from one, I can't remember, one of the country where we have foreign students arrived. According to them, we actually found out, I try not to mention the country. That group of students arrived that morning. It was 2 weeks ago. They walked all the way, turn right instead of turning left. As you go out this way, those of you who are new, you go straight into the jam, right to the ladies. Most of them swam into the ladies. And one of our female staff was shouting. Then we called them, what happened? Say, in our country, we can enter any washroom. Male and female shared. I'll let you find out. It's a true story. I mean, we can't imagine, I said, can't you recognize the sign? I say, our country, we can enter anywhere as we wish, but not in Malaysia. Yeah? So there are actually a lot of cultural issues. True?
I don't see you in the
Is it true?
Yeah. But nowadays, it's been changed.
Westernized. Once westernized. No.
Like, is it a lack of facility?
For example, restaurants, every restaurant has one smoke.
The country is very close to India, but not Pakistan.
China.
Is it because of lack of facilities, or because in my country that's the only people that works?
Yes.
Bangladesh.
A group of 10 students, they actually, so be very careful. That's why we have to really put a very clear picture. Not to, males are not supposed to enter. But today is weekend, you are safe. Okay, so we talk about monopolistic advantage theory, such as a company who can actually leverage on oligopoly and be able to actually set up their base in the host country. Of course, one of the criteria could be on the tax, and also there could be some incentive, other incentives, such as the certain trade zone. Most of the countries, even in China, they have trade zone to encourage foreign investment. Yeah, so that you are given a special privilege. I believe the local government would think of a few advantages. First, as far as possible, there could be possibility for the transfer of know-how. Okay, and number two, it could be also for the appreciation of the land value. Because if there's a piece of agricultural land, then suddenly you have an industry set up, so that there will be appreciation of the land value. And also don't forget about the property in the surrounding area. When there are a lot of workers, they need to reside, hostel, and so on. So the value of land, okay? And also the most important, with the political reason of employment. If we have a chance to fly to Penang from the airport to Batuan, you will see a lot of factories. Even last week, I was there. 2 weeks ago, I was there. Intel, until this moment, they can still engage 7,000 Malaysian workers from the Penang branch, Penang factory, and also Kulim. I think the two factories, they have engaged 7,000 Malaysian workers. There are many other electronic companies, and they are still there. And I believe the number of Malaysians work in those factories, it could be easily 50,000 and above. So, can you imagine that if they have uprooted, how would be the impact like? Yeah. Of course, there are some from the Klang Valley where I actually moved to Vietnam, Hanoi, years ago. Yeah, so it's going to affect the country's economy in terms of the people's income. Okay, barriers of entry, which I hope to see that you can actually capitalize on the concept when you present your answer. When you can look at the positive and the negative side. Either creating a barrier to avoid competitors from entering that market segment, or removing the barrier. So normally only government or intergovernment can help to remove the barrier. The concept of establishing the economic blocks in Europe, such as European Union, was one of a good example of why the trade barrier can be removed, such as using common currency. In fact, there was also a call at one time among the ASEAN countries. How many ASEAN countries? Just now we have just gone through the exercise of how many European countries now. As I told you before you walk out from this room, all of you have got answer. 28. Yeah. Has UK been included?
No.
Yes. See, you are still making mistakes. It's included partially, but not the currency. Yeah. But there's also one country which is not included in EU. Switzerland. It's not there. You have seen yourself on the website. Okay, so they have used common currency, euro currency. And among the ASEAN countries, there was also a discussion at one stage, can we use common currency? So which country or what currency should we actually look at? Until now, there's still no solution. There was a call. How many ASEAN countries? Very good. Have you done your research? And European Union, we have 537 million population, I believe. And 507. ASEAN countries, there are 10, right? 10, but what is the population size?
It's 3 trillion.
Check the website. Since you have a laptop now, it's an exercise for you to practice, to look for information.
It's included ASEAN Union.
ASEAN. ASEAN. Association of Southeast Asian nations. Southeast Asian nations. That's how you got the ASEAN country. Huh? Can you the reason of why I'm pursuing that particular question is for you to make comparison. We have less member countries here, right? Yeah. Compared to European, but our population size large. Is higher. So that is where the market should be targeted for any international company, especially from the European side, because another factor is to check on the aging population. They are smaller and aging. So the buying power may be weaker. That could explain why euro is weaker. The economy is getting weaker. Because there are not many at the earning stage, who's financing the economy of the country or the territory. But over here, we have only 10 countries, but the population size is large. If I'm not wrong, it's 535 million, if I'm not wrong. Or for those of you have checked, 633. So less country, but the population size is larger. And of course, the next stage you should look at is the demographic. Yeah, majority of the countries here, Malaysia, Singapore, whether you like it or not, there's always a concern of getting into an aged society. But countries like Indochina, most of the countries are having younger population. In fact, 10 years ago, I remember the statistic was 60 or 65% of the Vietnamese population, they are below 30 years old. Do you know that in the year of 2012, February 25th, I can still remember the date, 2012, February 25th, Bill Gates actually made a trip to Hanoi. Why? It was reported in the Newsweek magazine. The year 2012, yeah, it was about 3 years. he actually made a trip to Vietnam. No, 2002 or 2001. The year I may mix up. He had actually visited Vietnam, partly because of the IPR issues. You know, Microsoft was affected due to the China market at one time because of the piracy. And before WTO, there wasn't any protection over the IPR. I hope all of you are familiar now on IPR, intellectual property rights, the copyright issue. As I said, you can have the issue, but the local government is not supportive. So what is the purpose? It's no point for Microsoft to come in at the end, a lot of people using the pirated version. Huh? So it depends on the enforcement of the IPR. So one of the reasons of Bill Gates visited Vietnam at that time, that year, was he looked at the young population, most of them are below 30, 2/3 of the population are below 30. And it's a good market. And after you look at the statistics of Vietnam, I think they have population of 90 million. I think about 90 million currently in Vietnam. 5 years ago, could be slightly less. Yeah, but as I said, majority they're at the stage of 20 plus at the time. So it's a good market for Microsoft to penetrate. But before he actually helped to develop the infrastructure, he would like to have assurance from the Vietnamese government to make sure that at least do something to protect my product from being pirated. If you have a chance to visit Vietnam 5 years ago and 5 years now, is totally different. The IT infrastructure is really good. In a 3-star hotel, the Wi-Fi and all that, internet is very powerful compared to those years. Yeah? Or other countries like Medan of Indonesia, even Yangon or Myanmar, you have to wait until certain hours of the day before you can access email. But not in Vietnam. It's very fast due to the infrastructure that has been developed and with the support of the government. So I'm actually sharing with you the political link sometimes can actually help to protect. I mean, that's the strongest power from the political angle. Okay, question? We have seen 2 economic blocks from European Union to ASEAN. Next, we are going to move down to North American countries in the 3rd phase. But before that, I think it's good for students from Johor to ask some questions so that we can pay more attention to all of you. Q&A session is open up to everyone. It's good for you all to take advantage of the network that we have today. In Kuala Lumpur, we have students from Malaysia, of course, students from Yemen, not here, students from Ghana, students from Nigeria, even students from Mongolia. Yeah, so please, it's easily accessible. Lau Tiu Kui, are you there? Okay, please put up your hand. Tan Wenjun. Tan Wenjun. Good, yeah, thank you. Panil. Panil, not there. Ong Siu Lan. Okay, Ong Siu Lan. Will you all be around next week? Will you all be attending class next week in Johor? Hello, can you hear me? Will you all be coming for class next week to IEDC? Is there any arrangement made for our meeting next week in Johor?
I didn't receive any information from
Anyway, you check with Miss Iris. Check with Miss Iris. I'll be down there next weekend. Monica. Monica.
Oh,
Lalita. Lalita. No. I can see there's one more student. Oh, how come your name appear in the Johor Bahru? You came from Johor. Okay, okay, good, good, good. No wonder. I thought the pace for you to reach here is so fast. Just a second. Have I missed out any name from JB side? There are 4 of you, but only 3 names been marked. Can I have your name? Chong, Mr. Chong. Ji-Heng, yeah? C-H-O-N-G? Is your surname C-H-O-N-G?
I hope you don't.
Okay. I'm still waiting for question. No question, yeah? How about if we move on to these North American countries? How many? How many are there? And also the same approach, number of population.
41.
Huh?
Is it 41?
41. Yeah. They have actually expanded. Previously it was 3, at one time. About many years ago it was 3. Now they have also enlarged. Why? Why do you think so? It's mainly because of the economic reason. Because the globalization is a trend. Every country has to survive in terms of the sharing resources, either natural resources or information resources or the human resources. So they have actually enlarged the size of the economic bloc, even in North America, from 3 to 41 countries. I think the population size can be very large and huge.
567 million.
Yes, one of the largest, one of the largest. In fact, yesterday you read about BRIC, right? All of you? You learned about BRIC, right? The first alphabet. Yes. One of the reasons of why they have enlarged it because they have the USA, I'm talking about USA to be more exact. They are very far-sighted, knowing that their society, there's a limit of growth already over the next few years. So the only way is to enlarge territory, enlarge the market size, to look at country with young population, where they are about to develop or the developing countries. Those are the areas they can actually widen the spread of their goods or their service across. Otherwise, as I said, most companies, when they are expanding or growing, there's a risk of increasing overhead, but slow in the growth rate of their sales and income. So those are the companies which cannot survive. They have the financial planning over the 5-10 years. And there's a limit, as I said, within your home country, especially the Western country, they have proper policy on the birth control and all that. I think in the one of the resources you learn about the growth ratio among most of the European countries or so is only one child per family. The average growth rate in the European country. But in the African country, you can check on Google, it's 7 per family. The growth rate,
It's changing now.
Oh, I'm not too sure how long was the update. I just checked this morning. African country, the fertility rate is 7 per family, but European country is 1 per family. So the future trend is market will speak louder than anything. Right? It's no point you have the world-class product, but you don't have the market. And that's the reason why China is so aggressive in going to Africa. Okay, so North American, there are 41 countries, 560 over million population. Right? You can always check on Google. So that's why I would like you to have some overview of all this and to know where to source for information from the website and capture the information when you present your writing. Even in the case, and the two cases we are going to talk about today, one is on the espresso coffee from Italy. That is for classroom exercise or the group submission if you wish. And then in the afternoon, we are going to look at the other glue adhesive production company from UK, where we have actually gone international. One, of course, is more on franchising. The entry mode will be franchising, espresso. The other one is on M&A. In order to expand, unfortunately, our student who proposed M&A is not here. What is his name? There was one sitting there yesterday. He kept talking about M&A. So the M&A will appear in the second case that we are going to talk about. To expand, company can actually look at either franchising or they even can look into the M&A, merger and acquisition. A good example is actually from the case you've learned from the ODC exam, Chrysler and Daimler. The Germany automobile company and the American car manufacturing company, they have actually merged.
Our exam is take-home exam.
Home exam.
But we don't have to convert today.
So we have to collect the today.
Yeah, the W is here.
Check it. I think there will be some. Let me see.
Yeah.
Just have.
Give it a good time to
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
two last options. What is the two options of two styles? One is to go, one is to sit here. So it depends on
Yeah, this one IBM does track. This one IBM. Yeah. Was during we saw the schedule, is it? No, man, on the move portal. You have move portal, right? It's there, bro.
Really fine. When you look into the notification list,
Outside on
there's
the
a
portal.
schedule. What has been written there?
Yeah.
That means you should be able to get it. Probably lunch break. We try to get it for you. Lunch. Is there, right?
No.
So I didn't say. I called you before or something 9. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And those exams also we have to submit for our opinion. Yeah, bro. Because exam is different something, class is different something. And they don't exam is take home exam. You understand? If you want to get some,
We'll get a Google for you.
no, we have no class in afternoon. This morning class. Yeah, well,
Okay.
better than nothing.
They're covered mostly.
Up to you. So everybody bro can see on more portal. Okay. Okay.
Okay, we would like to spend some time on your assignment. In between our discussion, if there's any missing areas of theories and all that, we will add on, so that at least you can practice at the same time to supplement with additional theory, which can be helpful.
No. International. I believe business management.
Yeah, but I don't know.
We need to, how to say, enroll. Enroll.
Yeah, I know.
Let's get your answer.
Because normally we enroll, we come up with
Those from Johor Bahru, you can get your booklet from Miss Iris. If not, I'll pass it to you next week.
That's my notification.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
You need to tell them to activate. They haven't activated. Or you have to pay on this.
Yeah.
You ask them to activate.
I downloaded the wrong one.
No.
If I downloaded the wrong one.
It's like this.
Are you accessible to the assignment one? Assignment one. The book-based assignment. Those of you who can access to the portal, there's assignment one. You have a question. We are going to discuss about the approach of tackling this assignment. Not case, no. The book-based assignment. Can one of you look into your portal, the more portal, and see whether is it there?
Sorry?
The book-based assignment.
Yeah. We want to select the product or service and the product country of the choice, is it?
Yes.
I don't know why I'm not getting this.
No, they haven't activated it. You enroll, later you go there,
Sorry? I enrolled, but I just couldn't approve.
person is charged from. It's not there.
Yeah, there's no one.
Anyone have a hard copy?
They will
Later
They will
Just clean up,
automatically
clean up.
on your mobile.
Yeah, but I'm not getting it. I'm getting
Like
some
different
different codes.
areas.
Yeah, you can click. I will get the duplicate copy for you.
You already finished?
Oh, it's not even done.
You are involved from which studies?
I went for this one.
Because you know, like,
Because this one elements are missing. Okay, the one that is
when you did it?
it's like
Yesterday?
no, nothing.
When? Friday?
Yeah, I think like last week.
Because they will take like 3-4 working days. Somebody. Or you have to push them or something.
Okay, let me see. Because I don't think I came here on Friday, I guess.
You Friday?
No, within a week. I'll here within a week. Like Thursday,
Thursday.
Wednesday, yeah.
They usually take the time.
Have you downloaded everything?
Sorry?
Have you downloaded the material?
IBM? Yeah. I have.
Can I get it? Send it to me.
Or do you have Bluetooth? Just send me your email and I'll send you.
Okay, send it to my email. Let me check my email first.
Combine together become 100%. You want to see the question?
What's your name? What's your name?
Michael.
Abdullah. Ghana. Speak French.
When I speak
English. But they speak French also.
yeah, it's only when you learn
Colonized
it.
by French.
Yeah, no, it was English.
English?
British, yeah.
Oh,
Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast.
oh, Guinea.
Yeah.
Yeah. South Africa. South Africa, Ghana.
South America.
Ghana is from South or
No, West Africa.
West Africa, like Nigeria.
Yeah.
Havana.
Who taught you that?
I got a lot of Nigerian friends in BBA.
Okay.
I also did my BBA.
Okay.
A lot of Nigerian friends.
We'll get them on new.
Where you stay?
It's okay.
Oh, okay. There are a lot of Nigerian friends.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Got few friends there.
But I'm here to meet a Ghanaian here. I've not met any Ghanaian here.
I have had one girl from Ghana. I'm not sure if she's in this module or not.
Is she Gloria?
Huh? No, she's Shaima.
Where does she stay?
She's in Palm Springs. I'm not sure. Wait, she's from Guinea or Ghana? But from two of the countries.
Is her name is what?
Shaima.
Shama. Shama not come from Ghana. It's from Guinea.
No.
Or maybe the way you pronounce the name too. You know when they come to change their names.
Simon one.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Yep. Oh, sorry. 2, 4, 5. You also didn't got it. 4. You got the copy? The 4. Take one more. There only one? Yeah. Give. Oh, one. No more group assignment. No.
Is there any way you can send it to me?
How? Bluetooth?
Bluetooth to me here.
Okay, I'm done.
Bluetooth to me. I don't know that you can Bluetooth.
Yeah, I have Bluetooth.
Okay, let me see if I go. Because my mail is not.
You will know.
Yeah, I need to verify something.
Any one of you need draft paper so that at least you will have some
Extra.
planning, at least draft paper, because we are going to divide the class into groups shortly.
Good in the game.
Yes, sir. I look for the course, right? I don't get the idea. I get the question. I can. But I get it. Rejection, I'm not getting the idea. Get it? This is it. So I received a notification here. You can see the notification here now and wait for the call, but I still don't get it. Okay.
Yeah,
I should put it on the group.
yeah. Sorry.
Hey, it's on.
Sorry.
And your device?
80. AT. Yeah, SS is it?
Yeah, that's what it
SS TO T00J.
Yeah, CO. Yours is Dell.
Yeah, Delta, not AT. 2783. Sounds good.
Okay, I'm pairing.
Yeah.
Okay, say yes.
You have to
It's
pair
good.
first, I think. Cannot just go directly. Is it coming?
Is it good?
Again.
It's like you're connected.
It's connect.
It's not installing our shit. So can you send me the good documents?
Yeah, that makes sense. Is it coming?
Yeah, it's coming.
Whole document. Whole document.
I don't do the thing you have.
And in this conversation, I
Yeah,
think
there are a lot.
there
Okay,
are
but
notes.
checking my.
I just send you the exam also,
Yeah, it's in the exam.
but I don't think it's down there.
No, they have not uploaded the exam.
No, they will go before 5 days of the exam.
A week before the.
Yeah, before the submission of it. See on your more portal, you see the schedule for exam and all. So you don't have to log in. You don't have to log in. You just click here. The MBA, we are MBA, right?
Okay, in the assignment one, I've actually summarized some of the key points. The sentences may not be identical, but the ideas are there. You have to actually present a work-based assignment or prepare a work-based assignment by answering to the requirements set by this question. That is, in consequence to globalization, organizations in developed countries. So we are looking into developed countries are facing stiff competition from competitors from either local or foreign countries. To stay competitive, there's no alternative but to look out alternative or alternatives. Yeah, that is the market abroad, perhaps. However, with lots of uncertainties. Yesterday we talked about the controllable factors and the uncontrollable factors. In fact, you look at the internal or the micro environment. Of course, one of the key approaches is to look into saturation. Has the local market been fully saturated or not? Whether there's any potential for it to go further. As I said, from this strategic point of view, you can look at enlarging your market territory, such as the home base, assuming that your company is located in Penang. You are doing very well, and there's a saturation now. Is it the right time for you to go abroad? If you have not even promoted your product in, let's say, southern part like Klang Valley or East Coast or Johor Bahru side, so the local market penetration should by right be explored. Yeah, until we have no choice, unless there's any religious reason whereby your market, your products or your service cannot be accepted. So you should look into exploiting the local market potential. Number one, and number two, in terms of the demographic, demographic. Even in, let's say, in Penang or up north, you may have focused your product on certain group, such as you talk about saloon car. You know? Some of you are from the car industry, saloon car. That is for the commercial use or private use. There are two types, you see. Even for in the range of the saloon car, it could be for the executive or for the fresh graduate. In Malaysia, we have a privilege of fresh graduate. You know, kancil and all those very affordable type of car. In fact, when we share with some of the foreigners, our fresh graduates of the high school level, they can actually afford to buy car about 30 or 40,000. You are having a shock, you know, most of them can't. They need to have certain income before they can actually buy, but because of the financial support from bank, they can easily get car loan. So that's why the what you call the vertical integration. In business, we call vertical integration. You may have the product at the middle range, but how about the lower end, the fresh graduate market? Yeah, and also some of the family, they have big family size, you know, with 7, 8 children in a family. And we have noticed that in order for them to go outing or the socialization, it's very difficult that they need to travel by 2 cars. That's how the 4-wheel cars are in demand. If you have seen those from the villages, they use the van to carry the whole family. The saloon car is no more workable. Yeah, so I leave it to your observation. So there could be a demand. So let's penetrate the local in that 2 approaches before you go abroad. That's why it's good that you have some discussion on that. At this moment, I can't give you the exact example because none of you can actually propose to me what product, which country, and what company. So there are 3 parameters that have not been determined. I need to hear from you. What industry are you looking at? Is it a product or service? And where is the home country? Yeah, and the market segment. In which country? In Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam? Until those parameters are firm, we cannot actually advise you. Yeah? Like the other day when we went through the research class, some students are asking, sir, can you help me, you know, how to start? We can't help until you put down all those parameters. First, you must let us know your specialization, okay? And what is your area of interest? Are you looking into marketing? Are you looking into human resource? Are you looking into operational? Are you looking into international business or strategic management or logistics and supply chain? So you have to tell us some of those key answers, key pointers. Then only we can help you to incorporate. Yeah. So at this moment, you need some time to orientate yourself to be very sure. And that's why I had suggested to give everyone a piece or 2 on the rough paper. Whatever you have, you better capture. Even though it could be a mistake, doesn't matter. At least we can see something tangibly clear, you know, from what you have in mind. Then from there we can actually proceed. So just now we talk about the local, you know, the local market saturation, and also the phrase controllable factors can also be applied to SWOT analysis, which was not mentioned yesterday. In fact, if you have used SWOT analysis, very often you can divide into four quarters, 4 segments. Of course, the first 2 can be referred to the internal micro aspect. That is strength and weaknesses. Normally, we look at strength and weaknesses is within your company's strength and weaknesses. Whether you're successful or not, it's good for you to realize what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Yesterday, we talked about the comparative advantages or advantage. I would like to repeat this for the 5th time. Comparative advantage. In the economic sense, by right, originally we look into a country. Certain country, they have their own capability to produce certain service or product. Yeah. When we talk about the automobile industry, it could be inherited from the Second World War. The 2 big giant countries like Japan and Germany, they were in the war, right? They produced the aircraft for the war. And because of that, the engine can be used for many of the continental cars until now. They have the technology. Since the technologies have reached certain standard, and they cannot go for the war. The only way is to build into the car. That's why you have the BMW, Mercedes, all these are using very high-end engine. Japan also learned something from their technology. That's why their car industries are very successful. So those are the strengths. But for countries like Malaysia or Indonesia to produce car, we have to rely on them, you see. That is not our competitive advantage. A competitive advantage. But Japan and Germany, they have a competitive advantage of producing cars. Yeah. Then we talk about the natural resources. Because of our weather, equatorial. So we can produce world-class rubber. And also we can produce world-class palm oil, cooking oil. You know? Even our government was actually thinking of penetrating the China market 15 years ago. Our ex-prime minister did mention in the newspaper, if you can remember. He was saying that while negotiating with China, we are just hoping that if all the China citizens can have one sip of our cooking oil, you know, we will be short of supply. You know, the population size is so huge. If everyone started using our branded cooking oil from Malaysia, it will be a happy problem that we have to produce more to cope with the demand to that extent. Because we are good in producing that. What else? Huh? Peppers, yeah, from maybe East Malaysia. Yeah? And forestry in Sarawak. Yeah? If you happen to go to Cebu, a lot of forests, a lot of those timber tycoons in East Malaysia. Yeah? Because of the nature resources, we don't talk about the old history. Yeah? Into the jungles, nobody wants, and they can do a lot of what do you call farming and all that. Yeah, a lot of exporting and all that. And I don't know how much they made. I'll leave it to your finding. Because of the nature resources. Have you heard about TEAK? A very special type of timber in a country like Burma or Myanmar. The northern part of Myanmar, they are very rich in all those thick wood. That's why even last year or year before, here or in Myanmar, there was a grand furniture fair. They actually exported their thick furniture, very heavy but very, very tough. So, I mean, it depends on the demand. Certain fruits like apple, oranges, there's no way that we can produce in Malaysia because of the weather and the soil. So we cannot force ourselves to something which we are not good. So that is not our comparative advantage. If you leverage on your advantage, such as countries with large population but no job opportunities. So we have to think of exporting their mates or blue-collar laborers. As I mentioned yesterday at the airport, you can see sometimes the aircraft, half of those are booked, or full aircraft are booked by those foreign workers coming in. Even a pre-election or on the election day, they're just using that as a campaign, you see. I don't name the country, but you can find out. Because their strength is, I have a lot of population, large population who can't find job. And the neighboring country, there's a demand, so why not we negotiate? So there is resource. In business, we talk about 4 resources for those who are new. Information resources, human resources, financial resources. Yeah? Foreign bank, why are they here? Because they have a lot of money. The local market, not many people can afford to get loans. So I'm going to country like Malaysia, a lot of companies, a healthy company who need money to expand business. That's why they said that the foreign bank, even China bank started off in Malaysia. Because most of the people there can be very rich that they don't need to borrow from bank. So what or how are they going to survive? If no one borrowing money, bank will be in trouble. So they look for the foreign countries. Even our Malaysian CIMB bank, supposed to be the second largest, they have gone to so many countries outside Malaysia. You know, at the airport they put one bank, 4 countries, or what the slogan, KIA2. I can't remember the slogan. Meaning they have gone to Indonesia, they have gone to many countries. Thailand, yeah. Cambodia, yeah. Myanmar, there is one, but it's a service office. They put a very big signboard of CIMB Bank, but no staff from CIMB Bank. They use a local agent. So it's not ready yet. So comparative advantage was mentioned. The weaknesses, of course, you must know your constraint. In a good strategic plan, you must avoid leveraging on your weakness. I'm not trying to ask you to cheat, but this is a strategy. Normally, we don't really capitalize on what you can't do. See? It may end up to be an empty promise. Yeah. So strength, weakness, we talk about. Now, how about opportunity and threats? These are the external factors. Opportunity, threat, those are the, by right, should be the uncontrollable factors. Uncontrollable factors, because opportunity may not come may not come more than once. Yes, that's a statement. Laymen like to always mention opportunity or opportunities do not come more than once. Either you grab it or you miss it. So that depends on your luck and your foresight, whether you can grab the opportunity. Okay. Threat, of course, some hidden threat, especially when your business is not very stable. Like yesterday, product with very short life cycle. You know that your product is hitting on the trend needed by different country. So it may not be lasting for a long time. Such as the fashion-related products. Yeah, it may last for only a season, very short life cycle. So what will be your pricing strategy? You have to look into the what you call the stock balance. You are supposed to carry what you call dead stock. Where you cannot sell it locally, there won't be any more demand. So one possibility is to mark your price strategically high, so that certain percentage of your return you can cover the losses of the dead stock. That's one way. Yeah. Of course, nowadays with the globalization, there are opportunities. As mentioned yesterday, export your so-called products which are out of fashion to another countries, which is less developed. Like shoes or shirts or t-shirts, all that you can move into the third country. Because it's a wave, cyclical wave. Maybe in America 1 year, in Japan the second year, in China the third year, I do not know, and other country another fourth year, so your product can last. That was true before ICT. Now with the internet, everything, everyone already shown or new product is out. Even though you have not experienced, but you have heard about that. If you have been hearing the product for 3-4 years, it is nothing new to you. The excitement may not be as good as previously. Yeah, and that's the reason why some good marketeers, they're very smart. They always hide something. The local we only use maybe 80%. In order to internationalize, we add another side feature into it. So it may appear to be holistically different, slightly differentiated, you see. So that when you market your reason, 10% different from the product that you have seen in my country. So psychologically, people may feel that, there's something different in terms of the features. Or another way is to add on the service package. The electronic devices. You have seen about the promotion of microwave and all that. Just almost the same, right? Same feature of microwave. Some very creative companies, direct selling companies, they always package with what? Cooking lessons. You buy my product, I will give you 3 or 4 cooking lessons. So you learn. Everybody like to eat something, right? A fruit cake, next week will be what? Another item. So to draw people away from looking into the setback. So a good marketer should be very holistic into that. So sometimes service can enhance or extend the lifespan of product with service. Car, I'm not too sure, maybe you have more to share. Any additional item that you can, other than good service, what else? Since we have a lot of students here from the car industry, what are the strategies?
Facilities for some cosmetic changes to enhance the product.
After some years, your car can be returned for certain service whereby there's certain feature to be added on. So to make the customer feel that they are wanted, at least you don't forget about us. You don't forget about us. And I've noticed a lot of car dealers, they are very active in creating certain events, celebrity. Yesterday we talked about in marketing. Now they incorporate the celebrity into that. Either they can remember your birthday. I used to receive a birthday card from the car supplier. Oh, this month is a birthday. So perhaps we'd like to invite you for a certain event, for launching of a new model. Prompting us to change the model again. So there's a strategy. Yeah. Okay. Now, to go abroad, you either look into product or service. The external aspect, macro aspect, is very wide. Just now we talked about opportunity, threats. This can be linked to your pastel. It's good that you actually organize your answer systematically, starting with the A political factor, which could be a threat or opportunities. I like to pick up Indonesia as a good example. During the time of Suharto, there were always an accusation by the Indonesians saying that, oh, this what is called the President Suharto was very pro a certain family, which are monopolizing, only 5% of them monopolizing 95% of the economy in Indonesia. So when he has left the political scene, there's a changing power. So those who are very pro-Suharto, they may not be able to do so well. Like certain industry in Indonesia was almost monopolized. I think the cooking oil, if I'm not wrong, plus some of those commodities are being monopolized by certain families. Okay, so after that, there's a complete change in the scenario. I think the opportunities have been decentralized, opened up. The new government who took over actually opened up and decentralized the opportunity. So from an opportunity, it may turn into a trend. And that is also the reason why Hofstede looked into the 5th dimension of time orientation. And because in business, we are always balancing between quality and also the profitability. Quality, profitability. It's not easy to have both. You want something very high quality, incurring cost, but it is at the expense of your profit margin. So how to draw a balance is always a challenge. Yeah. So political, economical, there's something to do with buying power. Buying power of the people is also depending on their incomes. If you can remember, in 1997, where were you? 97. In Asia or outside Asia? Economic crisis. A lot of companies are affected. Even if I'm not wrong, Sam Darby or Guthrie, one of those, used to contribute like 40 million tax a year. Sam Darby, I'm not wrong, used to contribute 40 million tax a year. In that year, they're running in a big loss. So government has lost income of 40 million from Sam Darby in that year because they are not profitable due to the crisis. So can you imagine government is short of that kind of fund? How will be the bad impact? A lot of spending will be cut, you see. There is only one company. Not talking about a lot of banks are facing problems. As mentioned, they loan money, they cannot recover the debt. Most companies will have gone bankrupt, they cannot pay back. Even including, have you heard about this Pakistan giant Lion Group? They are also being affected for more than 10 years. If you have read the story, later on they were rescued by the Bangkok Bank because of the loan. That's why they could turn around after more than 10 years. And also the emerging market in China. They found opportunity to penetrate China finally, and also with the funding from Bangkok Bank. But of course, that case has not been released since the company is still around. This is what we have actually learned from the trip. Okay, so economic factor, that is something to do with buying power. And of course, sometimes when we talk about economic factor, there should be certain strategy of push and pull, you know? Push and pull. Yeah? You talk about push and pull strategy in marketing, you can actually apply to that. Where someone who can't pay, but you can find way to create market out of those segments, especially using credit card approach. Yeah? You pay first, the credit card will help you to cover. That's why a lot of companies, if you go around in the shopping area after your class today, they are promoting credit card. That's one way to push a sale, see? You don't have to pay today, just get the product, enjoy first, pay later. As mentioned previously, that's how AKPK is very popular to rescue people from reaching bankruptcy. Partly because of the government report, more than 50% of the young executives are heading towards bankruptcy because of that. And that's why AKPK is very popular. Okay, next, what else? Social cultural is actually very wide. From the religious factors, you can actually leverage on that. Religious factor. How about education? Could be part of the social cultural. Because especially in Asia, whether you like it or not, most families believe in education is no more a luxurious demand. It is a necessity. Even some of the old parents say we can actually starve, but we cannot sacrifice the child or children's education. No compromise. At least to get a bachelor degree, first degree. Yeah? We have seen cases whereby parents pay for the son or daughter's master degree. 2 levels of education. Now we have seen. Oh, so correct, huh? Okay, good. You are very fortunate. It's very honest.
No, down there, that's how it is. You don't get job early, so your parents will take care of you to your master's.
I've seen it many years ago.
Even
Malaysian, but now it's true.
Because you don't get job early.
It shows parents are very concerned. They want you to be more successful. Not only successful, but more successful. Yeah. So education, what else? Any of the social culture needs which can actually help to create business opportunity. As I say, celebrity is one. And yesterday we talked about every month you have certain day, either birthday, or Father Day, or Mother Day, whatever day. Actually, someone was trying to propose the other day. Why not make it less burden to the younger generation, their Father and Mother Day, to spend twice? That's a Parents' Day. Yeah, you have one saving. You see. Yes, social networking could be another approach. That is good for direct selling, MLM, multi-level marketing. We always go through that, right? As I said, we have certain party going on. Everyone like to eat, right? Okay, then from there they promote. Even some of the hotel, they are promoting the holiday package. As mentioned earlier on, most of the working executives are very stressed, very stressful. So holiday package. One reason of why AirAsia is popular, not only transporting businessmen, but they are also providing holidays, vacations. Now we have seen many young executives or managers over the weekend, oh, let's fly to Bali for a short break. Let's fly to Phuket Island for a short break. So they have actually created that kind of package to get away from this workplace, to take a short break off. So you can look at it cumulatively. It's quite a large pool of businesses created. It's going to benefit, of course, the air transport company is going to benefit the hotel and some of the restaurants in the outreach area, not within the area of work, but outreach area, domestically or abroad. Langkawi, it could be another destination. Pulau Tioman, right? During the first half of the year, among the foreign visitors, they are aware of Tioman. Formosa could be another one. Okay, social, cultural. I think there should be more. There should be more of those related. You see, in China, such as Thailand and some of the neighboring countries, water festival in April. I think this weekend, coming weekend, will be their New Year. So they have actually used that as an attraction to pull in a lot of tourists, especially those from American or European countries, Chiang Mai, Bangkok, Songkhla, or this Pattaya. All those people coming from the European country, they are not used to the hot weather. So the best time is to walk through the water festival when you'll be wet along the street, you see. They just pour water into all the tourists. To them, it's fun, you see. At least to balance out the heat. So it could be another way of attracting tourists. What else? Those are on the service. Products, we talk about cars. What else? Any other product? Electronic devices. Now we talk about a lot of electronic devices from Japanese company before, Sanyo, Panasonic, all those which have been localized. Even in China, you have heard about Huawei. It's an emerging giant. So they have also penetrated the foreign market in a very aggressive way. And many of those, even handphone. Handphone, what is the cute name, handphone? In Chinese, we call it Xiaomi. I don't know what is the English name. It's getting very popular. Even they have a box product from that brand whereby you can access to all the channel of the television channel in China, a few thousand channels, and it's only cost about $100 over. You can actually purchase online. So a lot of all those items, electronic devices, actually. So that is related to social, cultural, and also technology. Because of the internet has actually made access to even entertainment. Entertainment is a big industry. Yeah? You know, all those singers, I have not touched on this, singers and actresses from Taiwan, Hong Kong, they penetrated the China market. One concert, you know how much they earn. Because of the population size, because of the name, people are willing to pay. Once, I think Michael Jackson was in Malaysia, right? Many years ago, before he passed away, Michael Jackson. We even heard about colleagues who were so excited that the whole day couldn't concentrate on the work. I was so charmed, you know, I can still remember she mentioned, I was so charmed by the way he danced. It has lasted for a few days, the after effect. Even after paying off so much 100, you know, for that entertainment. The after effect. So these are some of the power. Okay, so social, cultural, technological. How about the legal aspect? Some of the acts, such as the FDI, foreign direct investment, Certain industry, they have an act. If you are in the F&B, you have to actually follow the local rules and regulations set by Ministry of Health Science, and so on, because they have to protect the consumer in terms of the hygiene, and that is the reason why even all the restaurants, they have the rating, you know, how many stars, a hotel how many stars in terms of the cleanliness and all that. The restaurant, they have even star, how many stars, just to ensure the interests of consumers are protected. I hope there's some contribution. I'm running short of examples. Those from Johor, you have any good sharing? Please voice up. We are talking about the PESTEL for the external screening, from political, economical, social, cultural, technological, then the legal, environmental. Most of the time, we look at the environmental defect. Environmental factor as a defect, not a positive impact. But in what way we can leverage on the environmental a factor to bring in a business opportunity. In what way?
Ecosystem, tourism,
Yeah.
tourism ecosystem.
If there are a lot of travelers who like to travel to other countries with 4 seasons, during winter, you can see in the shopping mall, you have winter time, right? Many of those. I was just wondering, they have been there for years, winter time, plus a few of those selling the winter clothing. Malaysia is a very hot country, yet there are so many branches. I think from Sunway you can see winter time, from One U, Mid Valley you can see winter time. I'm not getting jealous, but just wondering about. When we went shopping, not for shopping, I'm trying to gather some business ideas. In a hot country like Malaysia, companies at winter time, they are doing so well. Meaning to say, a lot of Malaysians are actually traveling to countries with winter. That's why they need the winter clothing. It's a booming business. Nobody has ever thought, is it? We thought we only need the thin clothing, but those who are traveling, it could be ranging from students going abroad, going to America, they need winter clothing, right? Going for holidays. The elderly people, retirees, they like to go for vacations. So they need winter clothing. So that means there's a demand, otherwise the shop will not be there for long. And you can see the rental is not cheap. The traditional herbs and all that, Iren Sang, they've been there. Seagull, right? There are 1 or 2 of those brand names. They've been there for almost how many decades? I mean, there are still a lot of people believe in the traditional herbs to take care of their health. In every industry which can last for long, that means there must be a demand somewhere. Those are the social cultural. Just now we talked about winter clothing because of the weather. How about the sales of umbrella? Sales of umbrella. Tourists are worried about getting wet, so the demand for umbrella could be very short term, but it could be very fast. Yeah. So we talk about winter clothing, we talk about umbrella business. What else? Where you can leverage on the weather, the changing weather.
So basically for this assignment, is it particularly required that you pick up a product or service in Malaysia that you intend to bring ashore? Because when you select a product or service,
You need 2 countries. You need 2 countries. You need to define a home country. You need to define the host country of your selection. Especially when you choose the host country, what are the rationale? You must convince the examiner the rationale of why you have chosen. That was the reason why this morning we spent time to go through the website, the Google, to let you see some of the ASEAN countries you can pick on, and then some of the European countries you can look at, the American country which you can pick on. My suggestion, strategically, if you have picked an Asian country, try not to go too far. Because the question will be raised by examiner, are you very confident that your product and service can be competitive? Unless you look at the traditional product, like our the traditional costume, where there are some believer who like to buy. I do not know. What else? What are the expertise on our country? Let's say Malaysia or your country, where you feel that there's an acceptance, You must have the so-called competitive advantage and also the comparative advantage. Make sure that you differentiate these 2. Are you good in producing which other country cannot produce? And do you think that when you are there, you are doing better? I can give you a very good example. Very good example. You know, KFC came all the way, penetrated the Malaysian market in a very big way. And the affected industry is on the chicken rice. the traditional way of producing chicken rice. Do you think our chicken rice can go abroad and compete with them? Do you have the courage of having the competitive edge or the competitive advantage? Even in a foreign country, it may be more expensive to buy chicken meat. Can the pricing be competitive? And the workers that you are going to engage, you have to pay them in US dollar or pound. It's not as cheap as in Malaysia, the chicken rice shop. The father is the owner, the son will help. Maybe very low wages, it cut costs. One way to penetrate is because of the low cost. You go to SS2, there's still chicken rice. But they have also changed, slightly. But those here I'm talking about earlier here, the family business to maintain the cost very low. That's how they can survive. As I said, most of the young generation, they would not want to work like that. Looking at the father wearing very short pants selling chicken rice, you think the son as a graduate? There's only one case in Prana Jaya I've seen, an undergraduate at night somewhere around the LRT station there, selling the noodles and all that. He's a graduate, but doing very well. The father and son, and he was always telling, I'm a UNICE graduate, you see, I'm selling hawker food. I can actually feed my whole family. That was the only one I've seen out of so many years. Yes.
So, with our Simon, can you take a product from to Africa? Since you say you shouldn't go that far.
It depends on the home base of each student. So if you are from Ghana, educate us in terms of supply and demand, and also to draw a line between the strength and weaknesses. And if you can convince us, the reader, your strength, and you have the courage to go abroad, by all means.
Okay. So means I can take a product from Ghana?
Yes, yes, you should. You cannot force yourself to look at Malaysia, which you are not familiar. You don't have the comparative advantage. Sorry to say, because of the learning curve. Well, in your case, you can look at Tata car, right? Tata car. I heard something not very pleasant about the car has not come into the Malaysian market. But in Myanmar, last month, I saw a lot of Tata cars. Congratulations. They are penetrated Myanmar in a very big way. Very big way. And all the four-wheel drives. The demand is all on four-wheel drives. Very big showroom on Sunday, a lot of people. And as I shared yesterday or last week, the car buyer in those countries are by cash. Bank will never loan money, and the demand is still there. In fact, end of last year, Nissan under Tanjong launched, I'm not too sure what model. The same day itself, it came out in the paper. They sold 33 units one Sunday. 33 units under Tanjong Nissan in last December. And of course, half of those are purchased by government. The government is supporting. Purchased by government.
So if we don't be a local product, it can be, let's say if you want to bring our product.
You have to justify. The key point is your introduction must be very expressive and descriptive in defining what you can or what you cannot, convincingly. And of course, I've shown you the approach of using some of the websites to draw information. Later on, we may even look into the list of world population by country. Shortly, I think we can do some exercise to look at Google list of populations of all by countries. Then you can see China is still number one at this moment, India number two, Indonesia could be number three, I think, number three or number four. So those data can actually help you in making proposal. So after selected your country and also home country and host country, other than using the the information on countries, population. You can also use a CIA.org, yeah, because there could be more data available or information available, such as the GDP, showing the buying power. And also, I've seen cases students attempted this assignment by mentioning country, which personally I feel that it's good that you select a city, because you talk about country is too vague, you know. Let's say you say I'm going to penetrate the China market. Which city in China? Southern, northern, inner part of China. Be very specific. That is where CIA can help you. CIA will show probably different city with the population and certain buying power. Is your product going to price highly or average or below average? So that will depend on the segment of entry. Some are looking into the entry point whereby there is less restriction by the government. Right? It may make sense from the business angle. And don't forget, you know, when you're expanding your business abroad, there's one resource which is indispensable, the people. You may also touch on the staff expatriation. Like we mentioned just now. Are you able to get staff who can help? And also, the selection of the right entry strategy or entry mode discussed yesterday. There are 6 or 7 types. Which is the one that you like to go? Smartly, strategically, I would recommend you have to draw a line between phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, short term, medium term, or long term. So don't go immediately with FDI. You are going to be knocked out. We are going to ask you how confident you are that there's no risk with heavy investment. So it may be good for you to do exporting, licensing, or franchising to a certain extent. The joint venture involving investment of capital should come last. Until you are very certain the country is very stable. And the people can actually accept. I quoted a good example yesterday. KFC took 5 years to survey the China market. KFC, there was a book on KFC. You know. Before they went China, they spent 5 years. A Taiwanese couple was engaged by KFC to stay in Shanghai, and then they traveled whole China to compile report to look at the what I call the consumers' eating behavior from month to month over 5 years, you know, before KFC decided to enter. Even we read about 2 years ago, Standard Chartered, they sent their professional consultant to the market of Myanmar, Yangon. They were there for almost 2 years before they start the first branch. So a lot of companies are doing that. They don't go in immediately by just 6 cents. They send someone there to observe the market trend, the political stability, to ensure that all those will not affect the investment. Of course, exportation is very safe. It's the safest when you export. Less risk. The most is one bailing God. That's it. You won't affect your company that seriously. Exportation. Export or import. You can come up with certain rule whereby the customer will pay you by COD or using the bank transfer. There's certain arrangement for the OC transaction.
FDI and FPI is the same category.
Foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio. Foreign portfolio. When we talk about portfolio investment, it's a very good question. We are talking about investment in stocks and bonds. Something to do with finance. Either you invest on stock or the bond, involving money investment. Foreign direct investment is you bring a lot of money to invest in those countries. the so-called FPI, you can actually sometimes do it online, like Forex trading of money, trading of commodity online, portfolio management, you can do it online. Less risk of investment, but sometimes it could be a disaster if you're not careful. Because of the global climate can be very fast. Have you ever entered the special software created for Forex investment? You can see the wave of changes very fast, especially when there are certain announcements to be made by the government of America or Europe with the election coming. So it may affect your investment. Well, if you need to do more survey, you can come during weekdays, then go up to our Bank BBS upstairs on portfolio investment. Okay, more question. The structures, all that, I think you can start dropping out. Well, I can give comment, just outline, skeleton of what you're going to write. I think it's good that each of you have your skeleton. Once you have the format confirmed, you just have to fill in the content based on what you have chosen. But as I said, once you have completed, if your assignment is going to be 5 pages and all that, I would strongly encourage you to use numbering 1.0 and then 2.0, 3.0. Go by sectioning your answer, and also you may like to put it as 1.1, 1.2, and also A, small I, and 1, 2, 3 in the italic form, rather than showing bullet. Because marks will be given when towards the end, the last quarter, we like to see that you practice some cross-referencing. Whatever data or whatever figures that you presented, you code it in your discussion at the end to round up. As the common phrase that I like to share, you use para 1.0A1. So you can code exactly what you have drawn down from the top. That approach will help you to earn some bonus mark. Now we have seen cases students discuss separately. At the end, you never draw from the past. You have written up to 5 pages or 10 pages. You never draw the references from the past. Then whatever research you have done, you are not drawing together. Have you ever tasted fried rice? Fried rice? Is it better than plain rice? Because you have all the ingredients integrated together, then you'll be good. You see the combination. But when it comes to writing assignment, I can see that students' works are very dispersed. You talk about A, talk about B, talk about C, and then you never draw. So everything was widespread. So how can the examiner give you high grades or marks? It's not conclusive. The keyword is convergent. It must be converging towards certain viewpoint. So at the end, is your investment or is your plan to go international marketing going to be successful or not? If there are more opportunity than threat, there's a high chance of success. Then you should move ahead. Okay, question time. Lalita, since you have traveled all the way from JB, at least must say something. Ask question. What do you have in mind? What product? Maybe it's good for the class to contribute by coming up with 2 proposed drafts. One is based on the tangible product. The other one is based on the service. In particular service, normally we look at knowledge-based. The staff force involved normally it has to be quite knowledge-based. Yeah. Whereas a tangible product, when we look at the human resource, it could be covering the blue collar. Tangible product, it could be involving production, it could be involving the sales, Those are more towards the blue collar. Whereas the service normally require knowledge workers. So it'd be good that you use some of the term in a very professional way. What is the definition of knowledge workers? Any volunteer? Knowledge workers. We talk about knowledge management, we talk about knowledge workers. The easier way for you to draw your understanding and your explanation is to compare it with the blue collar. Now, from the layman angle, blue collar workers are the ones they use their energy to earn a living and to contribute to the company, such as construction workers. You use your body strength. And we always believe, the old parents always say, as we are getting older, our physical fitness will be declined. So you cannot be forever not or become blue collar workers. While you are young, we are very energetic, you can. But after some time, you cannot. There's a limitation. Whereas knowledge workers are different. Knowledge workers are relying on two different skills. Both the qualifications that you need to earn, yeah, and also the IT skills. IT skills. Because knowledge, what you have here, plus your IT skill will make you a very stronger person, stronger employee. Then you can actually multiply, you can show them more responsibility than the traditional way. With a PC there, you can perform much better. With the knowledge and the technology is helping you to capture, and you can disseminate information. Such as when they are doing sales online, that is dissemination of information from the seller to the buyer. Can you send me information of your product or your service? You had a file already, just send. So that is the first step to reach out to business. The power of knowledge workers, where you use your IT skills and your brain here to earn a living and also to contribute to company. That's knowledge workers. So comparatively, we are talking about a service industry. Normally, we depend on knowledge workers. Yeah, manufacturing is more depending on the blue collar. You know, the printer, you need a technician. Those are considered as blue. But don't get me wrong, I don't feel insulted. In Asia, we always have the mindset the blue collar workers are lower income group. There's a wrong perception. If you go to the European or even Australia, the blue collar workers are earning more than knowledge workers. Do you know that? Foremen, they're earning more than any professional. They're in demand. Everyone using car, but not many know how to service a car. And it's expensive until the car's user, we have no choice but to learn to be a foreman. To save money, you have to learn how to repair your car. In Malaysia, you can see Sunday is a booming business. Shah Alam area, PJ area, all the workshops, they open on Sunday because most of the people earn money during weekdays. Weekend, they end up with spending money. Either they go shopping or they spend money on their car. So one on tangible product, one on service. You can also talk about the needs of the human resource. Anyone have the courage to contribute? At least a draft. First section, what would you like to have? Second section, at least have the title first. From there you grow. Grow it into, let's say 2000 is about eight pages. So it's more than 5 pages. So your numbering, as usual, make sure you have the page number, you have a title, as at least the company's name, and also the section numbering, 1.0 and all that. As I have been always reminding, try not to use bullet. And also, to those of you who are new, you need to present your assignment by incorporating the in-text references. What is meant by in-text references?
Like the body of the assignment.
No, the references that you can actually get it from outside, but you put it inside to strengthen your convincing point, such as when you look at budget airline, this is an example I normally use a budget airline. What has budget airline with the impact made by budget airline? It has reached out to more people in the community or societies where everyone can fly. So Fernandez was the first one who established his tagline. Now everyone can fly. So when you write an essay on budget airline, it's good for you to actually quote. Then Fernandez, the year that he mentioned about this statement, then from there you draw your argument. So you need a well-known person's leading statement and move along. Okay, what other leading statement?
Mr. Still mentioned it's a developed country, so can we still can call it?
We are talking about country which is more advanced in technology and whatever development. Because of the market saturation, they are looking into the second wave strategy, whereby they are replicating the business concept in countries which are less developed or about to develop, or developing country, or the least developed countries. You may have a reservation because of the buying power. It's not there. So the developing countries are the one. Developing countries are the one. So if you look around the whole world, which are the developing countries? Mostly coming from Asia. America, unless you're talking about South America, maybe to a certain extent, because of the population size. Africa, perhaps, very productive in terms of generating new market. Yeah. And also, they are really developing now. And China could be another one. Indonesia to a certain extent because of the political stability. Philippines, I'm not too sure, depending on what business are you looking at. It's not so even, you see, the country. Which there may be an opportunity. Because in business and marketing, we also learn about Pareto. Have you heard about Pareto? P-A-R-E-T-T-O, I think Pareto, or T-O, Pareto principle. In Pareto principle, you can use a mathematical approach of 20-80 formula. 20-80 formula. We are always looking into any market segment you look at. Most of the time, 20% of the segment contributing to 80% of the sales. In any society, likely to be 20% who can afford, but the volume is going to be contributing to 80% of your annual sales. 20-80 Pareto. So when I quote Pareto, examiner will see that, oh, this is a scholar. A student actually written by incorporating the theory, Pareto. And then you actually apply. That's what we like to see in the academic assignment. And of course, you bring in some data. That is a practical approach. There must be integration between theoretical principle and also the practical aspect. And then with your analysis to demonstrate that you are very convincing. You are convincing. This is the same approach where you can apply at your workplace. I believe most of you are employed, right? I think only probably minority are running your own business. Most of you are employed. Yes or no?
Yes.
I believe more than 80% Pareto effect, Pareto principle. 80% are employed. Of course, would you want to be promoted? Would you want to be promoted? If you plan to be promoted, you have to find a way to convince your superior, your boss. When you have a business plan or proposal, that is where you use the same technique. Why spend almost 30,000 to get an MBA and you cannot capitalize on the skills? One of the objectives of this is to train you to write very convincing assignment. So you should bear in mind that this assignment is not only for me to get an A, but also for me to gain opportunity for promotion. If my boss say, oh, we have this product, I'm looking into the market in which country. That is what you should write. Instantly, you have the format already. So we don't want your effort to be wasted, Now, besides getting your MBA, but also learn the appropriate skills where you can present your work convincingly. Unfortunately, because of the time constraint, otherwise, it'd be good for one of you to get an assignment done, do a presentation here, assuming that all of us are your employers or your superiors. So how are you going to convince so many people to buy your idea from your assignment? You should have that in mind. Have you heard about Donald Trump? How he select his talent? So all the selected candidate must be able to convince him that you can earn. Otherwise, how can he pay you so much per year? You know how much is the income in US dollar? Do you think he's silly to pay so much? There must be someone who can earn that much to justify. Okay. We still have some time. Any doubts on the assignment? If not, we are going to move on to have a brief discussion over the case. There are two cases. One is on the coffee, the coffee business in terms of franchising by episode. That will be used for classroom exercise, or if you have the time to submit a group as a group assignment, or to earn some bonus mark, provided there's a leader who is going to take up this challenge. Otherwise, we move into the last case, which is on a chemical product, I think, some form of glue. Yeah, from UK. How this company had expanded by going through M&A channel. I think it's also good to go through the first assignment first, because there are some questions already set on that assignment. Spend some time to just go through, so that you'll be more exposed to handling different type of companies. All the cases are not here for you to pass exam only. Is to throw a challenge to you, assuming you are going to tackle a company of such. Are you capable of improving the performance? Improving the performance. Question from our students from JB. Anything that you like to clarify? Those from Johor Bahru? Can you hear me? All of you are very quiet, from Johor Bahru. Are you following?
I don't think they can hear.
Can you hear me? Don't you have any question to ask? Are you confident of completing your draft so that when we meet next week, at least I can have a chance to give some comment? Yes, no? Since you have missed the briefing last week, I used to advise students to have a habit of writing 1 page a day. Yeah, that's how you manage your time. Give some thought into your work and make it a point by writing 1 A4 page a day. So if this assignment is of 10 pages, within 10 days, you can finish it out. So far, I've only seen one MBA student from Malacca made it by following the principle of 1 page per day. And he finished up the whole MBA project in 45 days. Yes?
Actually, you are coming to GND for discussion of the project or discussion for this subject.
You can talk to Miss Iris on my schedule. During the free time, she can insert a slot for me to go through the assignments in case they are still very unclear about how to go about. My visit is to make sure that all of you are very clear of what you should write, to cut short your guessing time, not learning time, guessing time. Most of the students are unsure. You started guessing this and that. The more you guess, the more negative thought you have in mind. That is a hindrance to delay most of the students from not writing. So my purpose is to encourage, to motivate all of you to write something. Even though it's a mistake, it's better to show your mistake earlier than later. But if you don't write anything, there's no way I can visualize, on how to help you.
They can also discussion about this subject for the assignment, right?
Yes. But she may have fixed time for me to meet the seniors. So check with her on the schedule so that any of the break time she can insert a slot for me to see all of you. At least 1 hour if possible. What happened to all the gentlemen? I've not heard anything from them. Okay, before your yes, question? This afternoon. Okay. Make sure this afternoon we'll be going through the case, and also as usual there'll be at least 5 to 6 questions that I'm going to key in on the board. So those are the so-called directed questions for you to think along the line before you receive the final question. You have not even seen the question. Why not you wait until this afternoon? Because I do not want to assure you so that this afternoon all of you will be absent. The climax will be this afternoon. We condition this afternoon we have the good attendance. Then only we meet and talk next week. Okay, I think we can now move into the espresso case. And also the questions. Questions are available, I believe. 3 questions. You don't have the question. Can you download from the portal?
No, because it cannot access now. I log in. I mean, yesterday we registered. So
Oh.
cannot access the
Wait, let me get Z to help you. How many of you cannot log in?
I think can log in, but
I
cannot
can log in.
access.
Yeah, I can log in, but there's nothing.
They have not access.
Because I downloaded, I think there was some operation or something there. That's what I downloaded.
I know this.
Download.
Discussion.
I cannot log in, but I cannot see this for this document.
Thank you. I'll have to listen to this.
Because they have to get the staff approval first, so they can see. So because today they are not working, so unless someone do it there now, then we can do it. It's like that. That's why don't log in during Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, which Asian country has the poorest electricity? Coming to electricity.
Which country?
Yeah, Asian country. Like has the poorest. No, Malaysia, your electricity is very good. Which country has stable electricity?
Oh, Yangon, Myanmar, certain countries they don't have the electricity. Indonesia as well.
Indonesia.
This problem.
India.
Because due to power fluctuation in Ghana,
No, Ghana.
yeah, students are able to come up with bags that have solar panel. Now you can charge your phone whilst working. You have this massive sun. So the solar panel will be at your back, and they have wires connected to your tap. Now you can charge your. It's very. I can show you
right now your name to ZZ. Idayu is checking on your setting from home now. Let's give your name. Those who can't access. Any one of you from JB whom you can't access to the 2 cases.
You're taking our name, right?
Yeah.
On 15th of April, supposed to be Thursday or Wednesday. 15th of April. Can you help me check? Is it
Wednesday.
Thursday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
The dean from BDSM will be in Malaysia. If any one of you has a time would like to meet up, you are invited. Otherwise, you can only see him during the graduation in Paris next year, February. But the date is yet to be decided somewhere in December this year. Normally, they'll only decide on the date 2 months in advance. So they will only announce the graduation date in February, 2016 in December. But it should be either before or after 14th of February. They always benchmark on the Valentine's Day. I don't know why this university is so romantic. They always go around before or after Valentine's. So, I mean, if you have the time, the full-time student, you like to meet up with the dean, he'll be here. Yeah. Okay. Expresso link to global market. This is the title of the case. You have also been given 3 questions. Those of you with a question in hand, can you share at least 2 or 3 in one group? Because it is good for you to work as a team. As highlighted in the outline yesterday, we are encouraging students to communicate and learn how to work in a group, because this is what most companies would like to see. When it comes to tackling problems, you draw along the ideas from your peer to come up with the best solution. We have enough to share. At least a question paper. The case you have will be good while waiting for Idayu to do the setting. But the question, I'm going to highlight the key point of the question on the board. Even you do. Okay. Before we look into that, these are some of the general approaches which have been reiterated by most of the guidebooks on how to handle case or cases. I think it's important that all of you learn the skills, because when you have the skills, you can actually apply to solve many of the case assignment. Yeah. I would always like to start off with, when you read through the case, you must always recognize the country or countries involved. The first step, the countries. There may be certain name, but the country must be very specific. Are those students from Johor able to hear? Yes? Johor student, can you hear me? As I mentioned just now, whatever case or cases given to you, you must always put down on in your notebook or paper the countries involved. Particularly, in most cases, you can identify a home and a host country. So put down very clearly before you forget. The reason being, in the last few exams, we have seen answers from the student reversing the home as host, host as home. So even though the student attempted in great length, there was some deduction of mark because of the confusion. That is where the company or the product that originated from. So make sure that you capture. Because this is a self-directed assessment, whereby the marking standard will be higher. We are more demanding and more critical in looking into facts and figures. So to a certain extent, you can actually capitalize on the culture, the national culture. Now you know Hofstede website. So the degree of power distance, the degree of uncertainty avoidance, the degree of individualism, the degree of masculinity, the degree of time orientation can actually help you to score points. Because that will determine the culture of the headquarters. The culture of the headquarters. Are they going to be very transparent? Are they going to be superior and subordinate kind of barrier? In terms of communication, meaning certain level of the organization only are accessible to those information. Like what I think one of you mentioned just now, when a company has gone international, the headquarters normally is reserved to share their top management info with the country managers there in order to protect the company's secrecy. That is a good example of power distance. Means the top layer will not share certain information with those in the middle range or lower range because of the power distance. Okay, so the home and host country, number one. And also, especially when you are talking about a business or an industry involving technology, anything to do with technology, if there's any smell or evidence of technology involvement, you must be very sensitive towards the year. As you know, technologies are fast changing. 10 years ago and 10 years later, the environment is different. So you have to be very sensitive, very definite with the timeline before you discuss the years. And also history of the company. History of the company. That is something to do with culture. Those of you who have passed or attended marketing module, I believe you learn about brand or branding. Our associate dean from BJSM came 3 years ago, conducted 2 public lectures. He's a brand expert from Europe. He always highlights that brand is always related to the history of the company. You create a brand because of certain history. There's a reason why you notice there are a lot of old-time coffee. Because time. To differentiate modern coffee from old-time coffee, the older, the better the coffee, right? I mean, looking at the market trend. So they always believe history is linked to the brand. A good brand should have a longer history. Otherwise, it will not last for long. Not the general belief. That's why it's good to know the history of the company, especially the country of origin. It could be originated from the post-Second World War until now. We do not know. As I say, the car industry started from there, post-Second World War. Okay, and another point that you should look at are the leaders. Make sure that you get the name of the leader. This is a part where examiner always highlight in the report. Students get confused. Instead of mentioning A, he mentioned about B. So get the name of the leader right when you present in the case answer. Be very specific. Whether it's Mary or Philip or whatever, make sure that you mention correctly the name. Don't just go by destination, but also the name, leader, of course, plus the right name. And especially the leadership style. Because these are the people who has drawn a different, leadership style. Some could be very autocratic or authoritative. Some could be very, very flexible, very compromising. We call it as a laissez-faire. Some leader would rather prefer to sweep everything under carpet. We call it as laissez-faire. There's a term in the OB class, laissez, L-A-I-S-S-E-R-F-A-R-I-E, laissez-faire. You can check from the website. So those are the leadership whereby employees in those setting or environment, normally we find that the organization or department seems to be headless. Have you ever experienced in a department or an organization whereby the top management never make decision, yes or no? So we really do not know pro or con. So that is a laissez-faire type of leadership. We are not saying which is good or right. It depends on the case. But the characteristic is such. Some are very strong. Everything you must follow. Means you have no room for suggestion or proposal. That could be supporting the idea of strong power distance, autocratic. But I would say most of the big countries, the communist countries, normally the leaders will have to be autocratic. Otherwise, there are too many opinions. There's no end. If we allow democracy, there will be too many voices. There's no end. But in that event of power centralization, there's a risk that the leader may sometimes make serious mistakes. Yeah? So leadership style. And when I highlight this, especially from number 3, 4, 5, those are the areas where normally exam question will be targeted at. The issues or shortcomings in that company or in those years when they are facing problem or rather problem. Organizations. Every single case, there must be some problem or issues or shortcoming for you to identify. And then root causes. What are the leading factors to those problems? It could be due to wrong investment. It could be due to wrong decision. It could be due to the economic instability in that era. So, why are those cases focusing on this area? Problems are actually the dependent variable. We believe problems are the dependent variables. The causes are the independent variables. That's why we call it as a root cause. Because of this causing the problem. So in order to resolve the problem, you have to go to the root causes, clear that up. As I mentioned earlier on, a company whereby the superior is very lenient, then the staff took advantage of the situation by abusing the punctuality, by abusing the deadline. Have you ever encountered company or organization whereby your superior has never asked you for an answer or your work by certain deadline, or have even forgotten the deadline set? So in your heart, you may be very happy. The boss is very kind. They have forgotten to ask me for this, since the deadline is already 2 months overdue. But it could be at the expense of the company. Because if you don't deliver, customers are upset. Then they move on to the next supplier. In big countries like China, India, if you don't answer them within 1 hour, they walk to the neighboring supplier. And your sales will be gone. You know that over here, when we wanted to send a parcel yesterday, they said Saturday is not possible for you to send your parcel. We normally work half day until 1 o'clock. But in countries like China, they work 7 days. Saturday you send, Sunday morning you arrive. From the northern city down to the southern city. 10 years ago, we sent parcel only 10 RMB, which is $5. From Beijing to Guangzhou, you send a parcel, 10 RMB. In Malaysia, you give 50 ringgit also Saturday, they don't deliver. I have to wait until Monday to send out the agreement. So we are losing out in that sense, opportunity, the case. Root causes. Solutions. So the question will normally ask you, as a consultant or international business director, how would you propose to go about in rectifying the situation? Such as when your expatriate managers depatriate, we call it as the reverse is supposed to be depatriation. Yeah, depatriation means they go back, depatriation. 2 expatriate managers sent, and both of them cannot last for more than 2 years. There was a depatriation for them to come back. So because of that, your offshore centers were headless. So how would you, as an international marketing director, resolve the problem? I'm just throwing a scenario, a short scenario. Yeah? You send expatriate manager, most of them supposed to have 3-year contract, but they couldn't last for 2 years. They return. And you cannot find with a short period of time a successor. But then your operations offshore need to be carried on. So how can you resolve? One of the solutions, of course, you know more or less the answer. Should we consider changing the policy from ethnocentric to polycentric? Means you groom up someone from local.
Yeah.
In Malaysia, as I said, we have seen cases, a lot of British companies are now handing over the responsibility to Malaysia. At least there's something in common. They only appointed the British university graduate. So you know the British system, especially accounting, finance. They are very particular about the British accounting graduate because they have learned the British law, business law, and the British taxation. Most of the accounting degree, they have these 2 compulsory subjects. So the company need not have to retrain. You have learned it in your course of study. At least there's something they can accept. You are used to the British culture, yeah, from the education. So solutions and also recommendation. As mentioned just now, either you change the policy to polycentric, or you may start looking into a local partner. Some of the operationals, the political channel, you let the local partner handle. The company have a split of income, but cut down the risk, let the local people to handle the day-to-day issues. Solutions and recommendations. This is where normally the second last question will end. I'm not saying that it will be definitely 3. Normally it's ranging from 3 to 5%. So this will normally end up with the second last question. And some very good exam cases, in some good exam cases, the last question will ask you, in your opinion. Now this is the toughest question. In some cases, if the examiner is trying to be very demanding or funny, but anyway, it's good. It's a good training. In your opinion, what would be the future direction of company ABC for the next 5 years? Something into the future means you have to be very clear about the trend before you can forecast about the future. And most inexperienced students normally they are stuck here. I never learned from the book. The lecturer never discussed in the class. Nobody knows whether you can live until 100 years old or not. So that is the purpose of the exam. To test how high is your IQ, how innovative you are, how deductive you are. Now from the current situation, the trend, how are you going to generalize it into the future? Of course, to answer this question, it requires the analytical skill. You have to analyze the pros and cons, you see. With this particular conditions made, the company will head towards that. And however, without which the company will not. So you have to be very descriptive and decisive and very comprehensive in your presentation. So I would say that most of the case exam will fall under some of this area. The framework of setting exam question normally will go along that line. And to a certain extent, the examiner may sometimes ask you, if you are in the shoes of that particular person, would you do the same or not? Why? This is another challenging question. If you are in the shoes of that person, since you are very good in criticizing people, but if you are given the authority, would you do the same? Such as if you are managing a company, one is your relative, the other one is your highly performing staff. Both of them are drawing equally high salary. On one particular day, your relative made a very serious mistake. Are you going to retrench him? Then you have to give your argument. From company point of view, we go by merit. If you cannot, either you retrench him or you give him the last warning by writing. If he is repeating the same mistake, such as abusing the company fund or discourage the customers from buying the company product due to certain sarcastic remark, so it's at the expense of the company, then whether that relative should be given the first warning or not, or what type of action to be taken. Or when you manage a staff, normally all the problems, all that are related to staff or customers. There are two possibilities, or sometimes it could be due to the government policy. Like for example, now GST, everyone seems to remember GST. You cannot run away from GST unless you are not in Malaysia. So the only way is to oversee. So what are the solutions? Well, we can think about. Now, in your case, you may also twist a story of you have chosen a company like, let's say, South Korea as a home country, and the host country is Malaysia. And then suddenly, with the implementation of GST, how will the impact like? So if it's unavoidable, it's a true fact. So how to overcome that? Talking about the policy and all that are created opportunities. If you have conducted a survey, most of the accountancy or accounting firm, over the last 6 months, they are all facing happy problem. The business are multiplied, tripled. All the accounting firm. Any one of you? Because of GST, A lot of companies are rushing for them to subscribe the software, to help them to manage the account in compliance with GST. So all of them are very, very busy, very busy. Overtime, a lot of overtime going on. Then you can ask around. So that is a typical example of opportunity. Any one of you from Johor working in the accounting firm? Yes? JB student? Can I hear something from your end on the GST impact, whether it's positive or negative? Yes?
I'm in finance department, but not in the accounting firm.
Oh, finance, yeah? So you all don't feel the impact?
The cash flow will impact because we need to pay the GST first, then to get the money, I mean the collection is a little bit slow, then we need to pay the government first. The cash flow is very high.
Thank you for being very frank. Because most of the consumer will be a bit reluctant to spend suddenly the additional 6%. Your salary has not been adjusted. And the next wave will be an employer-facing problem. The employees will always say that my salary is discounted by 6%. Can we have a 6% pay rise? So they have to go through Minister of Human Resource to announce all private companies supposed to raise salary by 6%. In order to, so that's why I'm saying the impact, on the first wave, it may affect the second wave. From the stakeholders, it's going to come back to the company's shoulder.
Some companies are practicing that the increment is 6% for all the staff.
All the staff.
Yes.
I believe very soon we will receive circular from the Ministry of Human Resources.
But even that
Encouraging.
6%, sorry, even 6% complete the
But
inflation.
at least now the company they didn't see on the performance, so everyone they are happy.
So when the company we have to bear the 6% extra, even rental also we have to pay 6%.
Yeah.
Meaning to say your per unit profit will be discounted. Then at the end, we have to top up 6% to the end user. You see the point? So it's one after another.
Yeah. But they cannot cover everyone. Like it's kind of make sure the staff don't.
Okay, you have another 5 more minutes before we break off for lunch. But as I said, these are the possible type of question that normally you'll be facing. Technology, years of establishment. Year of establishment. I mean, it's good if you can draw some of these trendy terms in your discussion to show that your assignment is more practical. It's no point that you talk about something which is very theoretical, but something which is more practical. That is related to the current situation. Current situation. So after your break time, when you come back, you will see at least 5 of the 3 questions will be up. Then we are going to spend like only probably 45 minutes to discuss this case, so that the remaining of the time we are going to move into the finance case, which I think most of you will be more keen to look at what are the possible questions. As I said, the general frameworks are deriving from all this direction. I mean, these are the thought from the examiner. We are going to assess the students from those directions. This coffee tasting a very common lifestyle in Ghana. Coffee tasting.
Yeah.
Common.
Actually, Ghana will take it as breakfast with bread.
Have they started or not yet?
Like, we have coffee in Ghana.
I mean the foreign branded coffee.
No.
Not yet.
We use the local one. Even if you do, you will not buy it because they prefer from their homes.
Oh, prefer. So it's still very traditional.
Yeah.
So meaning to say the foreign branded coffee, we have no chance of penetrate.
Actually, Ghanaians are sensitive to our pricing. We have Nescafe down there. So if a product should come and it's good and the pricing is low, with good advertisements, people.
The low pricing advantage.
Yeah.
We call it the low pricing advantage.
That will happen in Ghana. Yeah.
This is part of the cultural and economic related example. Yeah. Anything which is lower price is easier to get acceptance. And culturally, maybe the drinker of coffee prefer to try those from their home rather than those from overseas.
So you make it in Paris and they buy it and go and do it in their home. But if you were selling it at a shop.
Talking about coffee before you go for your lunch. In Vietnam, the way of the Vietnamese drinking coffee is different. Do you notice that? They have a boiler to boil their coffee to be very thick and very strong. Yeah, very strong. And then the morning breakfast, they will drink those coffee, putting in the ice cube. Very hot and strong, but they dilute it with the ice, balancing, and they say it's very nice. And some of them even put a lot of milk. Very sweet, very strong, very hot, and very cold. In Vietnam.
I think I've also tried Milo in ice here. Milo in ice. They also put the Milo very hot and put ice in it. Very sweet. You go to a restaurant and say, you can get some around here. Yeah, very nice.
You like
I didn't taste some in Ghana, but when I came here, I take it every day. It's very nice.
So you can see because of the pressure, the acceptance level is go on the extreme, Very hot, very thick, and then very cold, contradictory. And most of the time coffee is very hot, right? Very black, right? Black coffee. And our founder of the white coffee, they started off something which is in contrast. That's why they put white coffee. And when the marketer tried to survey among the foreigners who used to buy white coffee, what was the attraction from the survey? It's not because of the coffee. They are curious about when I open up, can I see something white or not? The packaging is such, they put it very black, but inside there they say white coffee. They just put a label, white coffee. How can coffee be white? So people are curious about buying in order to open up and see whether it's white or not. That's our concept.
Right.
So now you're saying very hot, now very cold.
Yeah.
So a lot of marketing technique is leveraging on extreme, extreme. Okay, we break off 1 hour. Yeah, we break off 1 hour.
Right on. When they're ready, you can watch it, right?
First assignment, just choose any language English.
You can choose. That's why your introduction you have to highlight the reason of why you have chosen because of the accessibility of the information due to your natural work nature. Okay, justify. Yeah. Yeah. In case my
All this, you mean, all the facts already built in one?
Yeah, already
in
built
Ghana or?
in Ghana. Yeah. This is you can listen to what the guy is saying.
Okay, not
So that's all laptop. This laptop.
Close also have a.
Yeah.
we have
Yeah, that's
Oh.
classes conducted in this manner once a month. So the next class will come on Saturday. The second day, first day will be current theory. Second day we are going through the assignment.
The mentor very smart.
they are students.
Oh, it's a student now.
Yeah, they are students.
Oh, you mean a group of them actually invited this one?
But the
Oh. Yeah, good idea.
But there's too much stuff like this in Ghana. You know, they prepare the food. This kind of food they prepare for food. You need a lot of people.
Yeah, or else they will use hand.
Yeah. This plastic waste.
Strategy and project management. These are the three main, but we do have some other less popular.
It's a good idea. They bring it back, but I want to take it up. So like I'll bring the product into the
Supply chain. We have some students, not many.
This is the
At this moment, we don't open yet.